Shāh, good afternoon. I'm always reluctant to stop the music because I like that piece so much. I really do. How are you guys? It's such a big pleasure. Oh, hello. Do we have here? Oh, Pop is here. We missed you. I have missed you. Viridis is also here. Such a big pleasure having you all here. I am just very happy to just attend to our weekly meeting. How is everybody? You know, keep on. Hello, what are you? Keep on, you know, telling me nice things and telling me how everything's going for you. Hello, Typhoon. As I am, you know, preparing all the settings. Ooh! Aaron, thank you! Yes, thank you for your subscription, Aaron. Here we have Reaper dancing with maracas. Thank you so much for your subscription. That is just grand. Thank you, guys. So I guess Aaron is here. Yes. Okay, so you can see me, you can hear me properly. Everything's good? Amazing. Thank you, Aaron, for the subscription. And as I always say, thank you to everybody that's here. Hello, Kiwi. Thank you to everybody that's attending these streams, and thank you to everybody who's subscribed and is helping me carry on with these streams. I'm very happy. This is my pleasure. Don't worry about Goku. He's just right here with me, covered by the hair situation. And yeah, just thank you for your subscriptions. If you want to support me one more month with your subscription, just remember you have to renew your Amazon Prime subscription. And if I just invite you to subscribe to Las Plumas de Simurgh, because why not? I bet there's so many projects that sit with you once per week and read out loud the Book of Kings to you. I am lying here because my friends at Zahhāk do something similar. But I'm talking about Twitch. Guys, go check Zahhāk. It's just amazing. It is a Persian podcast and I really like their content. And they're covering right now the Book of Kings, but they're doing a little different things too. So super recommended. As well, thank you. Big shout out to my patrons. Thank you guys for your support, especially my pals from Tier Murshid. Thank you so much for your support. I wouldn't be here. Your help makes this a lot easier, and I am entirely grateful for that. And I think that's it for me right now. Yeah, everything's set, everything's done, except for my drink today. I was gonna say like everybody's favorite, but I am a little bit confused on that because I don't actually know. I made a poll the other day on Twitter, and I was asking which kind of tea you guys preferred. But if you are Twitter users, you would know that you're only allowed 4 options, and that to me limits absolutely everything, because I would just type every single variety of tea that I know. And I always say that I position myself towards the black variety of tea, but I will be lying, because if it's tea, I just drink it, except for red tea. Although my friend Aina is trying to convert me. And of my friend Aina, we're going to talk today because she is responsible for what I am drinking today. Just take a look of this lovely mug. It comes from, I don't know if you can read it, but it comes from Palopó in Guatemala. It's a tiny, tiny village close to a lake with amazing volcanoes that are active. I mean, the volcanoes they are awake, they are awoken. And it is fantastic. And what I am drinking here, I said Aina is responsible because she was kind enough to send me a massive package of tea, because my friends know me, they know the way to my heart, and they send me tea instead of chocolate or instead of flowers, for example. I love tea. And this is one of my favorite mixers so far. And surprisingly enough, it's not black tea. It's actually white tea, green tea, and blackthorn. And it's so good. The smell is so powerful. You can actually smell every time you eat your tea. I learned my lesson. I'm not going to take a sip right now because it's just boiling. So yeah, but it's a lovely mixture and I really like it. And yeah, thank you Aina so much. She's amazing. Go check Aina S Erife on. Never had white tea before. Well, I sure recommend you to try it. I really like it. I mean, I like every single kind of tea, but white tea is much softer if you are not what does it taste like? It's softer than black and green tea. It has a tiny less of a hint of wood and leaves, if that makes any sense. It's a very soft, it's super soft tea. That is the word that comes to my mind when speaking of white tea. Is, yeah, the softness of it is very delicate, and it goes well with the mixtures of flowers. If you have any bushes, like it's a case of this one, because it has blackthorn, and yeah, I'm very bad describing tasters. I'm really sorry. Hello, Claire. Don't worry, you're not late at all. I haven't started yet. Also, I have company today as well. He's not going to appear on camera, but Bob is sitting here with me. You didn't show up. You didn't show up, cool. He's sitting here with me. Hello, David. And he's gonna be the technical support. And by technical support is just that if I need some water, if I cannot stand up, he will be kind enough to go check something. That's the kind of support I need from him. So, guys, we're gonna continue today as voted by. Oh yeah, they say hello to you in the chat. Like. We're going to continue today with the reading of the Book of Kings, and before starting, I wanted to remind you that this topic was voted by my patrons. So if you support me on Patreon and you are Mufti Murshid, oh, thank you, Danny. Thank you so much for the subscription. Woohoo! Yeah, they're saying hi to you and they're saying hi to your hand. So yeah. He will be waving all the time, so thank you so much, Danny Kobe. Oh, already 2 months supporting Las Plumas. Thank you so much for that. You're just great, guys. What was I saying? Oh yeah, I said that this topic was voted by the patrons. If you support me on Patreon and you are of Tier Murshid or above, you have the chance to vote for what's coming next. And my patrons did want to know what happened after, because we actually left in a very big cliffhanger. Because we covered, if you remember last session, we covered part of the reign of Zahhāk. And basically, we just read about, have me mark over here, just gonna leave here. When we talked about Zahhāk, it was the biggest mess. I mean, you know how much I love Zahhāk, and I'm a very big fan of him. However, I have to admit the situation in the world was not great, and as far and as much I love Zahhāk, apparently the earth itself was not taking much benefit from him being into power, because it basically was being rotten by the second, because yeah, he's not a good king. He's never attempted to be a good person. Perhaps at the beginning of his reign, when I'm lying, at the beginning of his story, when he's still not king, there was a tiny ray of light, maybe some kind of hope for him, but nah, that just faded out very quickly, actually. So no biggie, I still love him. So if you remember Zahhāk, I'm just gonna do this quick reminder, but of course you can go check the other parts of the Book of Kings, and there will be somewhere around. And Zahhāk was known, the main feature of Zahhāk, actually the main features, because he has two. One of them is that he's Arab and he is the son of Merdoz, and the second is that he was tricked by the devil, by Iblis himself. If you remember, he appeared to him in different shapes, because Iblis is a shapeshifter, and he was cursed and he was tricked, and he has two evil snakes sprouting out of his shoulders, which is metal AF, and I am all for that. I am living for that, and because of these snakes, he has to feed them. Again, because Iblis said so, and yeah, he has to sacrifice a young man or two young men each night to feed, to applicate the hunger of the evil snakes, which, if you ask me, in my opinion, is one of the best parts of the Shāh-nāmeh. And we stopped at a part where we said that Zahhāk was king, and he was king for more than 1,000 years. But then things took a turn when Zahhāk had a dream. And we're gonna dive into it right now. Just gonna take my book over here. And I'm not going to reveal, actually the title of the section reveals the name of the person Zahhāk saw, but I'm going to keep that for myself. If you know the story in the Shāh-nāmeh, you know who this is already, but I'm just going to keep it to myself for a long while. So, see what God did to Zahhāk when he still had 40 years to live. So, from this moment onwards, they were going to cover a period of 40 years. Remember, this is a mythical era, and kings and supernatural people live quite a lot. And also, if you remember before, Jamshid, which we covered 2 sessions ago, Jamshid had kind of unfolded the secrets of the world, and he did not find immortality, but let's just say that people did not die as much in the reign of Jamshid, which is not around anymore. If you remember what happened to... Do you remember what happened to Jamshid? Because it's a death to remember. Do you know? Let me know in the comments over here. Just let me know if you remember what happened to Jamshid. So as I was saying, see what God did to Zahhāk when he still had 40 years to live. Late one night, he was sleeping with Arvanāz when he dreamed that 3 warriors suddenly appeared from an imperial palace. So, just a quick recap. Arvanāz and Shāh-nāmeh are, depending on the version, they are the daughters of Jamshid or the sisters of Jamshid. Both are correct. There's not such a thing as a correct version of this. In this case, Dick Davis translated it as the sisters, but I've seen a lot of media and later translation use daughters instead of sisters. So if you find that it's not a mistake, it's just it can be interpreted as both. I personally don't think there's a difference because the events happen as they do, but just to double check with you guys in case you found something that's like the sisters of Jamshid or the daughters of Jamshid, so you know why this is. What is that, Kiwi? Fun times. He had the plot of a horror movie inflicted on him. Definitely. I don't think people remember, but let's just give 1 or 2 minutes for them to think what happened to Jamshid. And if not, Kiwi, just do me a favor and explain it over the chat. By the way, did you know that owls in the Iranian context are considered terrifying demons? One day I will tell you about that. So, Zahhāk saw 3 warriors appearing like just from an imperial palace and just showed to him. The youngest of the 3 was as tall as a cypress tree man. The royal fire radiated from him, and he strode forward between the other 2 like a prince, ready for battle and bearing an ox-headed mace. So, first of all, remember the tree the tree comparison. To call somebody like a cypress tree means 2 things. One, and the most obvious, is that you are very tall. You are indeed very tall, but also you are very resistant, and cypresses are sacred in the Iranian background. For example, we have the Great Sarv, which is one of the eldest trees in the world, and I think that thing is like, is it 4,000 years old? It is massively old. It's ridiculous, and it's in Iran. I could not go see it when I was there, but I'm planning to return and pay my respects to one of the massive, fantastic trees in the world. So yeah, the cypress is very important. It's a Zoroastrian symbol, and I don't know in the rest of Europe, but I am pretty much sure that happens too. Cypresses are a symbol of immortality, and this is the reason they are placed in Christian cemeteries, because they never wither. The leaves are always green. They are evergreen trees, so they're not perennial. They are perennial. So it's a powerful symbolism with immortality, with strength, with power, with beauty. And this is the reason a lot of heroes in the Shāh-nāmeh, ooh, that was a hint. A lot of heroes in the Shāh-nāmeh are compared to cypresses trees. It's such a nice compliment to make to anybody. So if you want to start using it, please go ahead. No, they are so cute. I think you are talking about the owls. They're not. I like them better when they are considered demons, if I'm completely honest. But if you've come to my readings of the Shāh-nāmeh, you already know I have a type. So, in this dream, there was the cypress-like man who was in the middle and looked like a prince, and the fire radiated from him. Remember, the fire is absolutely lost because Jamshid just screwed it up and made humanity lose the fire. And then there's the middle person and two guarding him. There's two other people. And he says that the prince is bearing an ox-headed mace. Why a mace? So, I don't know if you know much about weaponry in antiquity, but maces were a thing. They were indeed a thing. And in Iran, we have a lot of examples of very, very old maces, like battle maces. And in the top of the mace, there will be a head of an animal, in this case, an ox or a bull, which, if you follow my project on social media, you know that oxen and bulls have a powerful Zoroastrian symbolism as well. They are, yes, indeed, the ox is important. They are symbols of the sun. They are symbols of power and royalty. Kiwi is always, Kiwi is just there, keep up on point. Kiwi is always on point. So yeah, it's important. And also it says a maze, and I would like to point this one out. In this case, in Iran, in ancient Iran, this is supposed to be allocated. Remember, this is not a history, it's not a manual, it's not a history manual. So in this case, maces were far more popular than swords were. Because when we portray ancient soldiers, we always and forever give them the sword. And yes, of course, there will be some kind of a cutting instrument if you are a warrior. But there's other things to use, like for example, the spear, the mace in this case, a whip. There's other elements that we could add to warriors' attire. So do not be confused, and do not be kind of don't be deceived by video games, series, and films. Swords were not exactly that popular. They were, but they were not, if I'm explaining myself. So the dream continues. This young guy, the young far person, we're going to call him, he attacked Zahhāk and smote him on the head with his ox-headed mace. So this guy just grabs the mace and goes forward what Zahhāk is in his dream. He's like, boom! It just hits him in the head with the mace that has an oxen head on top of it. And he's like, boom! The young man flayed him from head to foot, like just tearing down his skin as he was like, I just know, a bloody banana, for example. And exactly, Kiwi will be such a, like, it will be a sound more or less like bonk. And yeah, so this is just, I gave you a heads up at the beginning. This is not a family friendly book. There's violence, there's sex, and there's like mature content over here. So yeah, Zahhāk is dreaming. He is flayed from head to foot, all his skin taken out of his body. Then tied his hands behind his back and set a yoke on his shoulders, you know, like oxen have, like this, to plow the fields, just a very big yoke, like clunk on the head. And then this fire-like person, he dragged Zahhāk to Mount Damaband with a group of onlookers, people like paying attention to what's happening, following. What a nice dream to have! Alright, so Mount Damaband. Why is it important, Mount Damaband? I could spend a whole live stream talking about this mountain, and most possibly I will in the future, because this mountain is a mountain that exists. You can Google it. It's actually a sleeping volcano, and it's the tallest mountain in Iran. It's 5,000 something meter tall. It's impressive, and to me is one of the most beautiful landscapes I've ever seen. It's not because it's Iranian, it's because I really like mountains. So Mount Damaband was considered to be the axis mundi, which in Latin means the axis of the world. And this comes again from Zoroastrianism, because in Zoroastrian legends, there is a very important mountain which is called Haraberozaiti, and Harati for short. And the peak of that mountain is basically the center of the universe, and everything orbitates and rotates around it. This mountain makes time pass. This mountain allows seasons to happen, basically allows creation to continue forward and to continue working. So this is just a tiny hint of the importance of Mount Damavand. And the fact that we have it here, the fact that we have it on the Book of Kings, it's something I personally love. Because this is not the ending of this mountain in this book. There will be a lot more mentioned, especially in a part which I am very happy and looking forward to for us to read. But it is very important, and possibly because now the Mount Damavand is a few kilometers away from Tehran, and actually you can see it from the city when it's not, when the pollution and the weather allow it, you can see Mount Damavand. And it's like, if Tehran is here, it's like up north, just on a straight line, and it played such a major role in the landscape of people, in the visual landscape of a culture. So again, I cannot emphasize enough the importance of it, but yeah, just keep that in mind. It's very important. I will dedicate a whole stream to Mount Damavand, or just to mountains in Zoroastrianism. But I really like to think about this mountain as something they would see. They would look at, not particularly because they lived in Tehran, because just imagine that back in the day, a 5,000 meter tall mountain would be noticeable, to say the least. And yeah, it was, were there no pollution in Tehran? She said, we spotted Mount Damavand when we were there, okay? Maybe once or twice, but I know it can't be put. Shush! Shush, you person. So, yeah, this is a dream Zahhāk had. Easy peasy, like just not big of a deal. A nice dream to have, if you ask me. Again, remember, this is a dream. Like, Zahhāk was not really, he was not really flayed, or no, this is a dream. And I said before that the dreams can deliver destiny, and they can bring your destiny to you. And it is very important to take this under account, because you know how epics work. Like, the world of dreams and the world of the imagination plays such an important role in ancient epics. And because with dreams, destiny comes. It's like they are kind of intertwined. And yeah, there's a lot of revealing dreams throughout the book. I am pretty much convinced this is the first one so far. Yes, I think it is. And yeah, it's important. It is important to make. It's important to keep in mind, guys. I don't know if I'm explaining myself properly, but it's important that you guys take under account and keep in mind the importance of dreams and the symbolism of foreseeing your destiny and a dream. Fundamental thing. So the dream happened. Zahhāk writhed in his sleep and felt that his liver was split with terror. That's specific. That's very explicit. He cried out, and his pillared chamber shook with the noise. So he screamed so strongly that the pillars of the room were like. What an effect! This is how you tell stories, for hell's sake. His beautiful servant girls sprang up at their master's scream, and Arvanāz said to him, I'm gonna make a pause here. He's sleeping with Arvanāz, and the book is not saying that anything happened, but we can assume that something happened, if you know what I'm saying. So here, there's no problem with, dancing naked at all. The poem actually is not specific, it's never specific, but you know what I mean. So Arvanāz said to him, tell me, my lord, what is troubling you? You are sleeping safely in your own house. It must be something in your soul that had terrified you. The 7 climes are yours to rule, and animals, and men, and demons watch over your safety. Remember the 7 climates, another Zoroastrian reference. It's a way of referring to the whole world. In Iranian folklore, the world is divided in 7 spaces, which are called the 7 climates. And if you rule over the 7 climates, you basically are the king of the world. And Zahhāk is, because I'm not going to say he inherited, because that is absolutely not the case, but he took over the reign of Jamshid. And for this reason, he owns the 7 climates for starts, and then animals, men, and demons watch over his security, as they did with Jamshid. So he's all protected. And then the king said to his womenfolk, "You will not be able to conceal what I tell you, and when you hear this wonder, you will despair for my life." He knows what's coming. Arvanāz replied, "You should tell us your secret. We might be able to suggest some remedy, since no calamity is without a remedy." I like Arvanāz. She's a positive person. The king described his dream, and Arvanāz said, "You should not neglect this, but your throne rules the world, which shines with your splendor, and all its animals, men, demons, birds, and paddies." Remember, paddies are here translated as fairies, but I don't like to say fairies, so I say paddies. And paddies pay homage to your seal ring. Right, the seal ring. There's a lot of things. You know, first of all, if you see that sometimes they repeat formulas, as in to say, for example, animals, men, demons, and birds over and over, it's because this was meant to be recited by heart, not read like I am reading here. So it's just a technique to help the speaker, to help the performer remember things. So the seal ring is basically, it's a ring of sovereignty, and you would wear it or you have it just to prove that you are the ruler of the country, and you can actually sign documents with it. I bet in Europe this was done too, but as always you will have to correct me, because I just have a hint of that on my mind, but I don't know if that is the case. I guess it was. So this is the advice Arvanāz gives to his king, to his demon king, King K. "Summon astrologers and magicians from every province. Tell them what you have seen. Seek out the truth of the matter. See in whose hands your life lies." So basically, he's advising first to identify the person who killed him in his dream. We need to be sure who that person is. And whether it is a man, a demon, or a party that threatens you, it's first you need to know the enemy. You need to know what you're going against. When you know this, that will be the time to make plans. Don't tremble in fear at your enemy's malevolence. Really? Le dijo la sartén al cazo. Don't tremble at your enemy's malevolence. Woman, you are sleeping next to the king of evil. Okay. I like this book a lot. So the king liked the advice of this woman, which is Arvanāz, whose body was as elegant as a cypress tree and whose face was lovely as the stars. So we have this again, and this is very interesting because I wanted to highlight that not only the cypress tree thing can apply to man, but to women also. We just saw it here, that women can also be compared to a cypress tree and whose face shone and it was lovely as a star. That's actually a nice thing to say. So Zahhāk knows Arvanāz is pretty and he thinks of that, yeah. The world was black like a raven's wing. The color, exactly the color I like. My tea, my clothing, and my soul. Black. When suddenly light appeared above the mountains, like it's just a ray of light. Just imagine, just picture this in your head. Doesn't this have like the most dramatic effect when you portray it in your mind? It does in mine. Are you actually picturing this as I read? Are you imagining all this, or are you just listening to my words? I want to know. Let me know over here, because I want to know. And if you're watching this on YouTube, let me know too. I'm curious, I want to know. Oh yeah, the world was black like a raven's wing when suddenly light appeared above the mountains. It was as if the sun was scattering topazes in a purple sky. The beauty of, right, sorry, I should carry on, but you know what, this is my stream, I'm just gonna stop every single time I want to. Just imagine a purple sky. You know how clouds can look purple, blue, navy-ish when it's dark, but it's not quite dark yet, and there's still some sunlight that is creating this beautiful shade and this beautiful range of colors. And then you have, it says topazes, which are this amber color, like orange, but not exactly orange, a very dark orange gemstone. And just imagine that ray of light and that in that specific shade trespassing the purple clouds and just laying onto the world that was before that was just covered in shadows and was just submerged in darkness. I think it's such a powerful image and such a beautiful way of saying that despite the shadows are raining now, hope is coming. The king summoned eloquent and learned sages from every quarter and told them of his heart-wrenching dream. He said, "Is it good or ill, these signs portend? When will my earthly life come to an end? Who will come after me? Say, who will own this royal diadem and belt and throne?" So this is very important. So we are knowing that not just the crown, which I already said in all the live streams, that it was not, we should not imagine it as like a pointy like crown, but just more like a tiara or a diadem in this case. So we have the belt as well, and we have the throne. Reveal this mystery and do not lie. Tell me the secret or prepare to die. Because if you know something about Zahhāk, is that he's not exactly tempered or does not have patience, which is something I identify with him very. It resonates a lot with me, like a lot. The sage's lips were dry and their cheeks wet with tears. Like these people are panicking because they interpreted the dream. They did indeed interpret the dream, and it's not good for Zahhāk. They said to one another, so they just gathered and started whispering, if we tell him that will happen, if we tell him, I'm just getting carried away, I love it. If we tell him what will happen, our souls will be worthless, and if he doesn't hear from us, we must wash our hands of life here and now. So basically they are between a rock and a hard place. Because if they tell Zahhāk is not going to be a happy bunny, like at all. However, if they shut up and they say, like, it's not important, he will find out and they will be dead as well. So 3 days went by. These people are actually like meditating. 3 days went by and no one dared to speak to Zahhāk. On the 4th, he said, either be strung up or not give it alive, or tell me my fate. He's running out of patience. He's completely run out of patience. So I just love him. So he's basically like, speak for your life if it matters a little bit to you. I swear to possibly to Iblis, I will kill you. I love him. I just love him. All the sages bowed their heads and their hearts were filled with terror. Their eyes were filled with tears. One of them, a wise and prudent man named Zahhāk, stepped forward. Anxiety seized his heart, but he spoke out fearlessly before Zahhāk. Rid your mind of vain thoughts. Easy peasy, like rid your mind of vain thoughts. Since no man is born from his mother, but for death. So basically the first thing he's saying is like, calm down your tits, Zahhāk, we're all gonna die here. Many worthy kings have sat on the throne before you. And let's just remember here, the all great kings. Let's just remember Kayumars, let's remember Hoshan, let's remember Tahmudes, and I'm not gonna mention Jamshid, because again, I don't like him. So, yeah. shout out to the Mountain Kings. Many worthy kings, sorry, I just get lost in my own thoughts. Many worthy kings have sat on the throne before you and experienced great sorrow and great joy. Each of them died and left the world in another's hands. Surround yourself with iron walls reaching to the sky, but you cannot remain here. Another man will occupy your throne, and your good fortune will lie in dust. This celestial ruler's name will be... Can I have a drum roll? Can I actually have a drum roll over the chat box? We're going to reveal the name of him. Broom, 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 or something. Yeah, I mean, that serves. I'm just going to try to replicate the drum roll over here, but thank you so much, Aaron. You got my back. Can you hear it? Sorry, I hope you could hear that. The celestial ruler will be named Fereydun. Yes, 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 yes. I love Fereydun so much. He's not born yet. His mother's time of anxiety and sighs is still to come. So this is a very nice way of referring to labor. Good job, Ferdowsi. But when he is born, he will be like a fruitful tree. When he grows to be a man, he will lift his head up to the moon and seek the crown and throne and royal belt. Like, this kid is coming in hot. He will be cypress tall, and on his shoulders he will carry an iron ox-headed mace, which he will bring down on your head. Then he will bind you and drag you from your palace into the street. It's coming! Zahhāk asked, why should he bind me? Oh, kinky. All right. Yeah, I will tell you something later on. Why should he bind me? What would make him hate me? The sage replied. If you are wise, you will know that a man does not do evil for no reason. Does this apply to Zahhāk though? Okay. His father will die at your hands, and this will fill him with the desire for vengeance. Yes. A cow called Barmaye will be his wet nurse, and this too will be destroyed by you. Hell, Zahhāk just stayed at home. And be an added cause for his hatred. Zahhāk heard him out. Then he fell from the throne in a faint. Like a dramatic Disney princess, like, oh. Zahhāk just fainted. Fearing for his life, fled from the royal presence. The sage, fearing for his life, fled from the royal presence. Like, I said it, I delivered the message, I am just, bye. When Zahhāk regained consciousness, I wonder if they left him there in the throne, like... he sat on his throne again and gave orders that the world should be scoured for signs of Fereydun. He knew no rest and could neither eat or sleep. The brightness of his days had darkened, which is actually something ironic to say the least. Like you say that Zahhāk, as a representative of darkness, had brightness in his days, but they darkened because his fate was coming to meet him. And let me tell you something, Fereydun is not, he is coming in hot, and he's gonna perform his destiny. This is not spoiler, you should have imagined that, but Fereydun is gonna perform his duty magnificently because he's bloody Fereydun, and we in this house, we love Fereydun so much. You will see why. So basically, yeah, the thing, should I mention, yeah, I'm gonna mention the cow in a little bit forward. So now we come to the phase of the birth of Fereydun actually. Many days passed and Zahhāk lived in fear. Poor thingy. The noble Fereydun was born. He came to the world. Omade, and Jamshid's imperial fire radiating from him as if he were the sun. So basically, the Fard has identified the good in the heart of Fereydun, and it's given humanity another chance. It's just like, okay, I'm gonna prove you, I'm gonna test you again, and I'm just gonna be here protecting this kid because I can sense it's destiny. It's destiny and chicken, my love. And he was as necessary to the earth as rain, as fitting to the soul as wisdom. So I'm gonna read that one again. He was as necessary to the earth as rain, as fitting to the soul as wisdom. What a lovely sentence. So basically the whole earth, the 7 climates are waiting for Fereydun, because he is the one who's gonna restore the order and who's gonna take the throne and just, avenge a lot of things that are gonna happen. The turning heavens pass over Fereydun and cherish him with loving kindness. So the turning heavens, okay. I am not 100% sure about this one, but I like to think, do you remember Mount Damavand? So basically, as the axis of the world, the celestial spheres rotate around it to make time possible. And this is the reason for Zoroastrians, the sky was like a shell, like the top of a box, something like that, and it rotated because it moved. They could see the celestial bodies moving. So I want to think this is the reason Ferdowsi is saying here the turning heavens pass over Fereydun. So they were blessing the kid. The cow called Barmoye, the most splendid of all cows, was also born. She was like a peacock, and every hair of her body was a different color. Azizam. Barmoye, we like Barmoye a lot. Animals, okay, I will cover this a little bit deeper forward, but animals in the Shāh-nāmeh have a major role, and I could not be happier about that. They do, yes, exactly, Butcherpuff knows it, cutest cow in the entire world. It is Barmoye. And why a cow? Why, of all animals, a cow and not an ox or a bull, for example? Well, because a cow was, yes, she was the most splendid of all cows. Although I know in the English language calling somebody a cow is an insult. Absolutely not in Iran. And this is because a cow was the first companion of Gayomard. If you remember Gayomard, he was the first man to ever walk on earth. He was the first human to sprout from the mountain. And actually, Kiyumard is based on him, on Gayomard in Zoroastrian legends. And he had a cow who accompanied him, because cows are sacred in Zoroastrianism. Almost all animals should be respected in Zoroastrianism, but cows specifically, because they are givers of life. They can feed humanity, and they can bring, they are basically the basis for the head of any shepherd. So it is very important, and Barmoye is a very important character. And I like that in the book they translated that as she and not as it, because she has indeed personality, and it's very important. So every hair of her body was a different color, like a holographic cow. How cool is that? And wise men, astrologers, and priests gathered about her and said that no one in the world had ever seen such a cow or heard of her like from ancient sages. So basically, Barmoye is a representation of a sacred animal, of a mythological creature that's been born again into this world to take care of Fereydun, because such is her destiny. I love this part of the Shāh-nāmeh so much. In his search, In his search for Fereydun, Zahhāk had filled the earth with rumors, and Fereydun's father, Albertine, fled in fear. But he fell into the lion's trap and was caught by some of Zahhāk's malevolent gods. Remember, the Shāh-nāmeh is absolutely biased. If somebody's a bad guy, everything he's done or he's going to do is going to be performed by evil people. So yeah, there's just no patience here with people. They truss him up like a cheetah, so it tells you here like how they actually hunt. and took him before Zahhāk, who killed him. So, do you see, have you guys watched Kung Fu Panda? And I say this because in Kung Fu Panda, one of my favorite characters of all time is Wu Wei, the master tortoise. And he says that sometimes one meets their destiny by taking the path they chose to avoid it. And this is exactly what's happening here. Zahhāk wants to avoid his horrible fate, but he's just taking all the steps to fulfill it. Firstly, he just killed Fereydun's father. He should have not, but hey, who am I to judge what Zahhāk did? When Fereydun's mother, Farānak, we like Farānak, I like Farānak a lot. So yeah, shout out to another great female character in the Shāh-nāmeh. Very accurate. DreamWorks love letter to Taoism. I like Kung Fu Panda a lot. Have you watched it? Go watch it. When Fereydun's mother, Farānak, saw what had happened to her husband, she feared for Fereydun, obviously. Sick at her heart, she made her way to the meadows where the cow Barmaye grazed. So the mom is sick, and she went to the meadow's owner and wept bitter tears, saying, "Take this unweaned child into your safekeeping. Accept him as a father would from his mother, and nourish him with that splendid cow's milk. If you desire payment, my soul is yours, and my life will be hostage to your wishes." So basically here, Farānak is offering herself, the soul. I don't know if you guys are believers or not, but here, offering the soul is a big deal. As we saw in the latest session of the Shāh-nāmeh, when Zahhāk promised things to Iblis and just condemned his soul. So Farānak is giving even her soul to somebody. For she can provide Fereydun with the milk of Barmaye, which is a magnificent cow. And the keeper of the thickets and of the splendid cow answered, "I shall be as a slave to your son, and I will do as you have asked me." Farānak handed her son over to him and gave him lengthy advice on how to bring the boy up. Okay, so basically here is that, you know, in epic tales, when somebody meets up with the hero, they know somehow it is the hero, and there is just this aura shining about them. And in the case of Fereydun, is a literal aura because he shines with the far. So basically, just bear in mind that everybody that will meet Fereydun will kind of know who he is, and what somehow they will see. It's not that people are gonna know exactly Fereydun's destiny, as in binding Zahhāk and stuff like that. But they will indeed know he brings a message of hope. He's the harbinger of hope to the world, if that makes any sense. They do know, they feel it when he's nearby. So it's not about knowing the specific fate, but to feel a change is coming in the person you have in front of you. Oh, I wish this part would never end. I just enjoy it so much. So yeah, this protector was like a father to Fereydun, because remember, the bastard of the father, fearing that Zahhāk was going to kill him, just fled. Excuse you, parenting done completely wrong. And for 3 years, he fed him with the cow's milk. But Zahhāk did not rest in his search, and his world was filled with talk of the splendid cow. Farānak, the mom, hurried to the meadows again and said to the man who had saved her son, "God has put a wise notion into my heart, and I must act on it, because my son is as sweet as life to me." Don't do that. "I will leave this land of magicians and go with my boy toward India. I'll disappear from men's sight and take this handsome child to the Alborz mountains." Okay, so the magicians, you remember I mentioned this last time, this detail, that depending on who performs magic, it is actually beneficial or not. In this case, she's talking about Zahhāk and all the servants of the Demon King. So of course, magic is prohibited. But remember, it depends a lot because Tahmuris used magic to bind demons, and so did Jamshid to conquer the secrets of the earth. So duality, that is the word you need to have in mind. So this woman took her son, brave woman, and traveled as quickly as a courier. And when she reached the uplands, she was like a mountain sheep in her agility. A quick shout out to the comparisons in this book. You need to be aware that not every culture, especially when we are separated so far, are gonna praise and reverence animals the way we do. Iranians loved their sheep, the goats, the cattle animals are very important for the Iranian context. And this is not only for back in the day times, not only in Middle Ages, not only during the ancient periods and stuff. It goes far back on time because we have examples, artistic pieces, which depict ibexes, for example, which is, oh, I love ibexes so much. They are beauty, and they still do. Yes, exactly. They still do. Animals are companions to them, and they are very important. So, for example, I don't know, they will say something in Europe like as quick as a lion or as quick as a wolf or something like that. Here they say as agile as a mountain sheep, because these animals were all around and they were revered. They were highly deemed in this moment, and I am all for that. Just like a lot. So yeah. She went to the Alborz mountains, which is the mountain range where Mount Damavand is. So she knows where she's going. She's going to a magical place. Yes. There was a religious man living there who had cut himself off from the curse of the world, and Farānak said to him, "Reverend sir, I have come here grieving from Iran. You should know that this noble child of mine will be the leader of his people. He will cut off Zahhák's head," not quite, but you know what she means, "and cast his belt and crown into the dust," like, to hell with you, Zahhāk. "You must protect him, like a father who trembles for his son's soul." The good man accepted her son from her without a sigh, because he knows. My God, the ordeal this kid is going through. He's only 3, for hell's sake. Oh. One day news reached Zahhāk of the meadow and of the cow Barmayeh, and like a maddened elephant, just imagine, can you portray an Asian or African elephant? Just imagine an elephant that's mad. That is how powerful is this metaphor. He came there and killed her, together with all the other animals he could see nearby. Zahhāk, this is the only thing where I'm not gonna defend you here, pal. Like, he just slaughtered animals for the sake of slaughtering them. We know Zahhāk has a thing for killing, but not the animals. Leave the bloody animals alone. So again, you see he's just completed the second stage of meeting my fatal destiny Shāh-nāmeh edition, which is killing the cow that was the wet nurse of Fereydun, and therefore like a mum to him. Fereydun is not going to be happy. I know, we're weeping for Barmayeh. It's a toast for the most magnificent cow of them all. And you may think I am kidding with this. I am definitely not. A toast to that magnificent cow. Toss a coin to your cow or valley of plenty. Shut up. If I start singing that song, I'm gonna get rid of that. So, moving on. Okay, so he doesn't stop there. Then he quickly made his way to the house where Fereydun had been living and searched it, but found no one. He set fire to the building and razed it, because why the hell not? Yeah, you see how important this is for Zahhāk, that he's personally going to kill Fereydun himself. Okay, we're gonna read one more part and we'll be done for the session, because I could just read forever, but I can't. So, time passes, and there is a moment that Fereydun reaches 16, which in Zoroastrianism, the age of 15 is actually considered the coming age, the adult age with 15. I don't know why it says 16 over here, and I do not have knowledge of 16 being the just the adult age, but yeah, it says 16 over here. So Fereydun was living in the Damavand, like in the Alborz mountains, for 13 years. Badass. Yes, this is how far the mom went to protect him, living in the bloody mountains. I told you we love Farānak. So when Fereydun, you know, he grew up and he had questions. Like, for example, hey mom, why do we live in a bloody mountain in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by magical creatures, these amazing earthly energy and sensing from the very axis, the center of the world, that's just sprouting here in the shape of a giant volcano? What do we live here and we don't have a house like the other kids do? You know, kids' curiosity. He descended from the Alborz mountains to the plain and came to his mother, asking her to reveal the secrets of his lineage to him. He said, "Who was my father? Who am I? What family am I from? Who can I tell people I am?" Yes, exactly, that's the plot of Cool. Cool on the Two Strings. Amazing film, go watch it. And so he has a lot of questions because he doesn't have something that is super important, and I talked to you about this before. He doesn't have an identity. He doesn't know who he is. And in this case, in this world, in this ancient Iran, identity is very important. You have to know who you are. You have to have some kind of link to your past. What was that? Sorry. You scared me. So you should have some kind of link to your past, something that tells you where you come from and who you are. I know in this today's modern world this is not that important anymore, but it was for Fereydun. And Farānak replied, "My ambitious son, I will tell you all you have asked. You are from the land of Iran." So Fereydun does not know Iran. He's not been there ever. "And your father was a man named Abetin. He was the scion of kings, a wise man and a warrior who troubled no one." A coward, by the way. A link to the past, a mass of Majora? No. Who troubled no one, but he fled because he was scared. I'm not sorry, I'm not cutting this guy any slack. He was descended from Tahmures, from father to son. He was your father and a good husband to me. All the brightness of my days was from him. Really though? Really though? Anyway. And then Zahhāk, who delights in magic. So here again you see that magic is considered very negative. Tried to kill you, and I hid you from him. What evil days I passed at that time. Yeah, she went through a lot. Through hell and high water, woman. Your young noble father sacrificed his life for yours. I don't think that's what happened, but you're telling the kid a story and you want to put the father in a good place, so we're gonna go with that. But you were here with me as I was reading. That is not what happened. Well, maybe she doesn't know. Maybe she does believe that. Oh yeah, your young noble father sacrificed his life for yours, and I went to a wooded area no one knew of. There I saw a cow as lovely as a garden in springtime, of wondrous beauty from head to foot. Her keeper sat before her like a king, and I gave you to him. For many long days he brought you up, cradling you tenderly in his bosom and feeding you the cow's milk, which made you grow into a fearsome warrior. I like Fereydun a lot. I'm gonna say that like 60 times per minute. Eventually the king heard of this cow and the meadow where she lived. He went there and killed your kind, mute, wet nurse, and then he raised our home, sending its dust up to the sun, and made that tall building into a ruin. How does she know that? I am wondering. Sorry, it's been a long time since I read this part. So if she's living with Fereydun, if she fled and she's living with Fereydun over the Alborz mountains, how does Farānak know this? Lovely as a garden of springtime. Who thought they were talking about a cow? I explained it why, and I will accept no but comment about Barmaye, because she is worth more than a lot of people are worth in this world. And so again, how does Farānak know that? Stop questioning your mother. I bet the farmer told her later. But then she went back? Like, she left the kid? She left the kid on bloody Alborz range? I have a lot of questions here. Well, okay, I'm just gonna carry on. So we know something, that is that the building Fereydun used to live was tall, and it was made into a ruin because Zahhāk is a destructive person. Surprise. Pretends to be shocked. Fereydun sprung up, enraged by his mother's words. His heart was filled with pain, his head with a longing for vengeance. Frowning in anger, he answered his mother. A lion becomes brave by being tested. The magician has acted, and now it is time for me to grasp my sword. With God's help, I shall rise the dust of battle over Zahhāk's palace. Fereydun is just, he's not taking any names, he's just kicking butts. He wants revenge, and he's gonna take it. Oh, I love Fereydun so much. But his mother said, this is unwise. You have no followers anywhere, whereas Zahhāk is crowned and rules the world and has an army ready for battle. See what we like, Farānak? See? This is a good mom. She's giving him good advice. It's not the bloody stereotype of, oh, I am the chosen one. I'm just gonna go and just fulfill my destiny by myself because, you know, I am the chosen one and I am almighty. No. Not in Spanish. No, that is not gonna happen because you are a 16-year-old kid. You never grasped sword, although you have supposedly warrior's blood. Doesn't bloody matter. You're just a kid. You're just a brat. And Zahhāk is a king with an army, with 2 snakes sprouting from his shoulders, and he's a magician. So you're gonna calm down, you young man, and you're gonna listen to your mom because she is delivering good advice. She said, again, I'm just gonna reread it. This is unwise. You have no followers anywhere, whereas Zahhāk is crowned and rules the world and has an army ready for battle. Exactly, Pichur. No Anakins here. If he wishes, he can summon to his side 100,000 warriors from each country. This is not how you should fight. Don't see the world through a child's eyes. Like, grow up! Grow up, you moron, you're gonna be king of the world. Act like it. Oh my god, yes. And this is the following advice the mom gives to him. Whoever drinks the wine of youth can see only himself, and in that stupor he will throw away his life. I seek for your joy and prosperity in all you do. I basically calm down, sit down, relax, and think. Think, young man, think. However, the mom Farānak is not exactly right because, you know, Farānak is a real hero here. Absolutely, like Farānak is on my top 10 of Shāh-nāmeh women, like absolutely, for sure. So she's not exactly and entirely correct because, you know, the news of Fereydun has been spread throughout the world, and the world is knowing time keeps passing, sorry, and the world knows either that Fereydun exists or that Fereydun is coming. So he has followers he hasn't met yet, and among all of them there is a very important character whose name is takht-e, but of him we will talk some other day. And that is it for this live stream, Bacha. I hope you enjoyed it. As I said when we started, this is by far my favorite part of the Shāh-nāmeh. The cycle of Zahhāk and Fereydun, I just love it. It is fantastic. And just for the record, I know, I just want you to come to next week's live stream. So for the record, as I was saying, when I say something is my favorite in the Shāh-nāmeh, I am always excluding Simurgh, because she is of course my favorite thing in the world, and I think I said this in another stream, but she plays in a different league, in completely different leagues, so like absolutely. So yeah, this is my favorite part, and I am so excited. I think you can tell how excited I am that we are continuing and just covering this part. I'm just very happy. But thank you guys for staying here with me. Thank you to everybody who's been listening. I hope you are. Let me know, are you enjoying these sessions of reading? Because I know my reading is as slow as watching grass grow, but there's just so much I want to share with you. I want you to understand the book entirely. And do you like it? Give me your feedback. I'm gonna make a tea pause over here, and I want your feedback. Don't tell me just nice things if you don't like something. If you like me to speed up a little bit, you want me to explain more things or something, you know, you can interrupt me anytime, but I want to know, because the only way of improving is knowing what's wrong. So go ahead, let me know. It is great. Sorry I didn't comment much, but I lost it. That is okay, Elena. I didn't know you were here. Oh. I think it's good that you read and explain at times. Okay, then I'm gonna keep doing that. I mean, I was gonna anyway, because I know you like the explanation. And again, I think something fundamental when reading and approaching the Shāh-nāmeh is knowing what we're reading, because it's not a novel and there's a lot of ins and outs to it. And yeah, it's important to know how to read this book. Definitely. I mean, one can read the superficial part, one can enjoy the superficial part of the story, absolutely, but I want you to understand exactly what we're dealing here with. Reading the story alone makes it feel like you're missing some of depth and symbolism, and the explanation helps so much. Thank you, Bachapov. Thank you so much. So that's it for me and for today's and this week's live stream. Thank you again to all the people who subscribed again. You guys are amazing. You keep me going. And also thank you so much to my patrons, who especially my Tier Murshid. And just thanks to you. Thank you for coming to my streams. I enjoy a lot talking to you and sharing these parts of not widely known history with you. And in case you choose to discover this area, hello, my name is Laura and I'm an art historian. And what we do here is that we share knowledge and stories about Iran and Mesopotamia, and we're reading the amazing book of Kings. So yeah, I hope you guys have a fantastic week. Drink lots of tea. If you're going into the sun, please wear sunscreen. Do not play games with the sun. And I think that's all for my part. Again, have a lovely week, and I shall see you, if you want to come along to the stream, I shall see you in coming Twitch streams of this channel, Las Plumas de Simurgh. Again, my pleasure. Have a nice week and stay safe, please. Bye!